This video was originally done on the 25th. I originally uploaded it to YouTube on the 25th. You'll see all that in the description box. However, the full version of the video was uploaded on the 30th of December 2019. They have been attacking me. They have been interfering with this. And the reason why that's been taking place, I'm going to place at the end of the video. Okay, this video is about panhandling in Jackson Township. Jackson Township is in Canton, Ohio. It covers 2 days. It's going to be roughly 2 hours long. Day 1 is December 20th, 2019, and day 2 is December 21st, 2019. Day 1, I spent roughly 3 hours before they froze me out, and then day 2 was about 35-40 minutes before I was interrupted by an officer. Who am I? I'm Christ's mother, and that's a matter of DNA and design, and the government's attacking me naturally, as you suspect, for who I am. They want to maintain dominion over the land, law, and physics. So the things that I'm experiencing right now with them, other than being attacked by them, is internet censorship, which means that, my content isn't reaching anyone. Operation Mockingbird, in terms of the media and politics, no one will respond unless the government gives them the okay to respond. So that means formal complaints are being ignored because I'm a threat to eugenics. And for those of you that don't know and haven't followed, this term may be completely new to you. Eugenics entails the extermination of created races. So that's Satan's favorite uniform, the white man.
It's 4 o'clock.
A small disclaimer. Not that anyone is watching right now, but for those of you that have seen any of my videos, you know that I cover a wide array of topics. But the main 2 that I really hone in on is eugenics, which is DNA cells, and demon possession, which is subconscious mind attacks. Eugenics is how you dress the devil up in the form of gene expressions and characteristics. DNA is a matter of characteristics and traits. So by obtaining those characteristics and traits, you can apply things that are that are only supposed to be passed on hereditarily. DNA is hereditary. You can only obtain certain characteristics and traits if they already exist within your bloodline. And epigenetics, oh my goodness, I don't want to get into that because some of you may not be familiar with it. Anyhow, eugenics is how you dress the devil up. The chips are being installed at birth to support it. As far as demon possession, that's the subconscious mind attack. It entails memory removal. The things that they're able to do with this is absolutely horrible. Like, they absolutely rewrite people's lives. They input a lot of things that people. Real quick, I'm going to touch on remote neural monitoring because they're attacking me really badly right now. Goodness, this is like a rerun of my old videos. Remote neural monitoring gives the government access to your minds. They are watching your thoughts as you form. They see exactly what you're about to say. And as they're watching those thoughts form, they have the ability to block, interfere, and even insert things within that thought to alter the way that it's delivered. So back to this demon possession thing, them being able to rewrite and write the subconscious mind. A lot of the times that's done in the form of a skill set. And to be possessed means that, and you're probably able to tell right now, remote neural monitoring is in full effect. This did not happen during the first take with this video. So anyhow, demon possession. To be possessed means that the demon has complete control over the mind and body. Who are the demons? Government agents are the demons. I discussed it in a video that's titled, I discussed alien hierarchy in a video that's titled, bear with me. It's video number 290, ODJFS, Area 51, and Alien Hierarchy, if you're interested in how that works. One last thing before the video gets started, I have a 78-page complaint that's been addressed to 6 different agencies. They received it on the 12th of November. So November 12th, 2019 is when those agencies received it. It can be found not in this description box, but in recent videos description box. There's a link to all my social media pages on my YouTube page. The complaint can be found on every single one, and it's in the form of, on Facebook it's photos, like screenshots of the complaint. On everywhere else, it's the link. It's the Google Drive link. Okay, I'm going to Panhandle, and I'm getting a late start at it. And I'm going out of the area. You can't see me. And I'm going out of the area. I'm going to Canton to Panhandle. I'm getting a late start because it was a bad morning. I had to call the cops. But I didn't have a cruiser come out. I'm gonna to go in that direction would be I always have to tell so much background information because so much happens all the time. So anyhow, to deal with the officer when I've already forwarded these sort of matters to the chief of police would be moving in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to contact him on Monday and see how I can kind of get him to investigate it and send him the damage that was recently done to my body. So I'm going to Panhandle. I have to have this recorded. So something that's taking place right now is restraints. They have restraints on my leg. They have restraints on my leg. So it's reducing how fast I can walk. And it's like a combination of phenomenons together. So it's not just the heavy, weighed down, tight feeling on my legs, but it's also the feeling of force, so gravity against me in a way. They were waiting to put a new church up over here too. That's why they were trying to, every time I go this way, sometimes I take that road up there. That's the street the post office sit on. They're blocking it from my memory. But anyhow, every time I go, I've been going that way like the last couple of weeks, but not frequently. And every time I take that way, they tell me, oh, there's the bus I'm about to catch. So we'll get there about the same time. They tell me, they say, don't go that way. Like, we don't want her going that way because these other people are able to know that we were waiting for her to get put out so we could put a church up over there. And we were waiting for her to get put out so we could use energy there. Like I said before, once they get me to leave a location or once they cause a problem for me at a location, they change the policies. So that applies for CRC, Community Resource and Referral Center, and also Community Support Center or Services Homeless Outreach. And they're building a McDonald's on Thornton Street. That street is like literally off of where I grew up on. I grew up on Princeton Street. Anyhow, back to this leg thing. Although I'm moving, I'm not covering any space. So it kind of wears you out because you're applying more effort, but not getting the outcome. I used to have a lot of videos of this when they were dragging me at 80-degree heat. 80-degree heat. Summer of 2018. But guess what? They stole the phone that was on all those videos. Tons and tons of voice notes. You know, people contradicting themselves. Videos of covert activity at the university and the hospital. Literally. Them showing up moments after they said they would. So I'd be capturing it, telling you exactly what they're saying to me right now. And then moments later, it would happen. One of the bus drivers showed up. The one that was trying to talk me into trying to get me a phone. It's an old school, like old school pimp. Ponytail and all. But I haven't seen him in months. I'm talking about 4 or 5. So what they did was they just showed up as him. Like as I was walking back there, they drove by and he slowed down and he smiled to see if I would smile back. He was gonna stop, and I didn't, so he kept going. Slew-footed devil. They do the same thing everywhere. Okay, yesterday they mentioned riding free. I said that probably didn't apply to the bus in Canton, but it does. Their buses are free today. It's Friday, December 20th. What was I going to say? The first thing they always do is these females. That's the same driver as last time. I've only taken this bus twice. The same thing when they start posing as these females that they know I'm going to come across is they make changes to their appearance. So the female that always wears her hair in a ponytail and never gets it done suddenly finds time to care for herself. The next time I see them, they have a new hairdo. They were running test scenarios before I left the house. They were talking about the females were probing. They were trying to see how close they could get to me. They know I have a goal in mind. My goal is to get $500. Oh, but this video won't be with that video. $500. I need to get a laptop, change my license back to my original name. They were trying to see how close they could get. And so they were running test scenarios of them like giving me money, but then one of them showed themselves getting out the car and trying to have a conversation with me. And I told them, I said, if y'all get out the car and try to talk to me, I'm gonna run in the other direction. Because they were using a white guy to do it. They were gonna get out and talk to me, attempt to have a conversation with me as a white guy. And I told them, I said, if y'all get out the car and try to talk to me, I'm going in another direction. Like when I planned this about a week ago, I said that I was going incognito. And the horrible thing about trying to move anywhere in incognito while you're being gang stalked is they're always watching, you know, so they show up when ain't nobody supposed to know. So I have my pink scarf with me as well. I'm gonna like kind of drape it and cover my face up and stand there with my sign. This is my sign. I'm so proud of it. I'm only gonna spend about 2.5-3 hours there. Like I said before, catching the bus to Canton from Akron is no problem, but it's a little sketchy coming back. So look, when I told the females that I was going to run in the opposite direction, they told me that pretty much I wasn't going to be able to stand where I wanted to stand because I've been visualizing exactly where I was going to be, where I could potentially get the outcome that I desire. So they found a patrol guard and they showed me themselves showing up as the patrolman to pretty much tell me that I couldn't stand there. I don't know if you can tell, but my lip is still swollen from yesterday. I wish I could show a picture of how big they made my lip. Maybe I'll find a way to make it the thumbnail for this video. When I panhandle in Akron, I have problems. Like, there's one video on YouTube of my experience. You know, me spending time out there with these signs that I've put all this time into. Huge signs, colorful, you know, kind of explaining what was going on. Them people would pass me by. They control the crowd. So, you know, the guys and the men are kind of in opposition. The men are like, we need certain things to happen so that we can tell certain lies. So they kind of want me to get this money, and they're like, they're going to control the crowd to pretty much arrange that. But the females are like, they're going to be working against it. So when I panhandled in Akron, I never made $1, not 1 penny, $0. I never got $1 from panhandling. I'm trying today and potentially for the next 2 or 3 days, with the exception of Sunday. But like I said, the obstacle that I face is them controlling the crowd. Like they own these people and they use them however they want. So as I stated before, they began to attack me in 2017, March of 2017. They've been attacking me my entire life, but they made their attacks known in 2017. So, let me see, up to maybe 1 year prior, as soon as I changed my name in 2015, all the changes within the city started. There were a couple here and there prior to, but developers, like, they were on through the roof after that. Because what they did was, because I wasn't moving under the same name, I was no longer on the radar as someone that would witness or know that something is changing. When developers move into these small cities, it's a indicator of demonic influence. That when you come to a small city like this, you can tell from the people where you go into these stores, they're weird. That's because they're possessed. It's a lot of alien activity in cities like these. And the sad part about it is the alien activity looks different in the suburbs. You know, like, those are aliens as well, but they're programmed to live a different lifestyle. In the suburbs, that's where those that are being used in a major way to enslave Africans live, and their reward, everyone's reward, literally, for ignoring matters like these, you know, is being able to eat out and go to the mall. You know, currency is what separates tiers. Because people are not reading my descriptions, the description box of my videos, I'm going to put some more details in the description box that have something to do with this trip too. You know, some things that they've been trying to manipulate surrounding me coming here. So I'll put those things in the description box because, like I said, people don't read. And one last thing, I just want to note the white people that live in the suburbs and the black people, but the white people that live in the suburbs, and I'm using white people as an example. I want to say creative races, but we can't get away from the fact that white people are the majority. So white people in the suburbs are no different from those that are in the city. Those aliens that are in the city, they're no different. The only difference is they choose not to live. It's designed like that for a reason. It's supposed to give people an idea, like something to thrive and strive for. But they separate the two because those in the suburbs are programmed to know more. You know, like as far as education, they have a bit more education than those that reside in the city. So when it comes to a topic like eugenics, they know how very detrimental it is to their existence. They'd be okay with coming to work and seeing a black person, coming to work and having to provide a person to a black person, provide a service to a black person, but if you move into their neighborhood, they're going to have a problem with that. You have to be associated with a large demonic deed for them to accept you in their neighborhoods. So money, as you know, I'm dead broke. Like, they won't allow me to get work, not one in my field, and they even sabotage my appearance again to ensure that I wouldn't qualify as a candidate for certain positions. Like, I had a partial, and up until October 11th of this year, 2019, they broke the partial so that I could not get certain positions. I get $7.74 a month, and that's from my utility allowance. You know, everything else has already been noted in videos and in descriptions, you know, as far as like bus passes, you know, how I come across and how I make a win. Okay, one last thing, and then I'm going to be quiet until I get here and I start panhandling. I want to talk about creative races. A lot of them will tell you, you know, that they're not racist and that they have a black friend and they care about black life. It's impossible. They are not able to in any way, shape, or form, and they never forget who they are. But furthermore, without the gene expressions that are being applied via eugenics, you realize that that's an experience, that's an emotion, that's a feeling, that's a perception that you can't comprehend. That didn't come out. I'm gonna try it again. Okay, here goes. Take 2. Eugenics is how you dress the devil up. They had my phone recording. They just missed the whole video. Anyhow, like I said, eugenics is how you dress the devil up, and it entails decoding the minds of the Africans. So they wanted to make their mankind, their image of man, feel. They found that these things were not able to feel. They found that they were not able to have compassion for others. They found that they were able to do this. And moving into this more modern day slavery, they found that they needed them to look, act, and be a certain way. And they could only get and achieve those things by decoding African minds. So you see how passionate, how loving, how caring we are. And that's all in the expression of a gene code. That's binary code that can be copied and pasted and applied somewhere else. So when you apply a particular feeling or emotion to a particular part of the mind, if you copy enough of those cells and paste enough of those cells there, it makes that individual, it enables that individual to convey an expression that they could not normally convey. So someone that's monotone and doesn't smile at all, they can apply happy or joy. And you see that individual begin to smile more, they begin to laugh more, they begin to interact and engage more. So they found that they got their robots, their most prized creations with no soul to feel. That was the objective. That was their only objective, to enslave and make them feel. So, for you dumb motherfuckers whose demons are on a million, that would say something like, well, if you don't like white people, why are you going into a white area and asking white people for money? Black people are behind. Black people own them. It's a black man that created the white man. Satan is African. Satan and his posse is African. Genetic engineers. So now back to that whole thing I said about controlling the crowd. They direct their beings in whichever way that they want to. And I only did that because I know some of y'all are stupid enough to make a statement that disrespectful after I just told you what's going on. Okay, so anyhow, that's the end of that for now. I'm going to show you exactly how much I made, and I'm going to attempt to capture as much of the crowd as I possibly can. The last time I did this, the last time I recorded panhandling, I tried to set my phone up in a way where it could capture what was taking place. Where I'm going to be standing, that's not possible. So I think I'm going to like kind of put it up here, put the phone up here, so it has one of those like front view things So you can see them purposefully ignoring and disapproving, being aggravated by my presence, like, because that's what some of the demons are going to do. That's what some of the agents that show up are going to do. These hateful black men in their favorite outfit that are looking at me, the solution, like I'm a problem. I know that I said that was the last thing, but I got one more thing. So, initially I planned it for Friday, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is up until Christmas Eve to Panhandle. That's 4 days to get my desired amount, my $500 goal. So although today will be the only time that I record it, I will be putting the updates, like the what took place, you know, if I made anything for the remaining 3 days. Also, white people that are watching this video, imagine the conversations that I've had. Like, most of the time when I bring up eugenics, it shuts them down and they'll change the subject. But imagine arguing with a robot in flesh that's been programmed with human intelligence, so it thinks it's real. And it doesn't know that until all those expressions have been unapplied. And then it can see how it's not human life. Then it can see how it's alien life. Then it can see how it's unable to experience human things. That's the fight I'm fighting. Black men and women mad about their favorite outfit, trying to keep control over things that they have no business having. They want to maintain dominion. They want to remain over law and physics. Things they have no business having. It doesn't belong to them. That belongs to me. So Big Pharma and blackout agencies, you know, like the ones that are just like black ops. But that's all Area 51 aliens using those identities. So most of the time when they attack me, you know, they using the literally all the time when they attack me, they're using the identity of someone else. So today it might be the cashier at Giant Eagle. Tomorrow it might be the door clerk at Walmart. Tonight it might be a guy in pharmaceuticals attacking the clone remotely. Tomorrow it might be a CIA agent orchestrating crimes around me at the facility that I'm going to. That's what covert operations are. Okay, so it's 3:23. I just got done using the bathroom. I'm at Mr. Heroes. I should be in position and started. It's like literally right down the way by 3:30. It was something that I wanted to say real quick. Oh yeah, I wanted to say about the incognito thing. If I really wanted to be incognito, I probably should have left my phones behind. I told you that they do strange things with that. Like when they change whose radar I'm on, it's always this other phone that they'll start over, and I'll end up finding out that, hold on, let me find it. Okay, it's this phone. In other videos, I've shown what they do to it, how they restart it, and it changes which network and whose radar I'm on when I'm in the area. And I found that always takes place, and it always happens when I'm moving, like on different sides of the town. They always kind of revamp the phone. Whereas in the past, as you all know, created racists, especially white people, have had a problem, an issue with facial recognition. That's been improved by computers. Facial recognition has been decoded and broken down into a process where it can be applied to a part of the mind. So that's exactly what they've been doing. Although they don't. Okay, I can't recall. They erased it from my memory what I was about to say. They blocked that thought. Remote neural monitoring for those of you that haven't been paying attention to any of the other things that I discussed. That's a technology. I have the patent number, but I cannot recite the patent number to you. But for this facial recognition thing, it's a disturbing concept because someone that you don't know and have never come in contact with, they can program how you feel about that individual and apply it to the subconscious mind, so that when you guys have a interaction, it'll affect the outcome. Okay, here goes. Okay, before I left home, I had a barbecue chicken sandwich. They wouldn't allow me to finish it. They induced a feeling that I was full, so I couldn't eat the rest. They often do stuff like that. They'll starve me later when I don't have access to food to deplete something like a Subway gift card. Okay, originally I was going to stand right over there where those people are, or aliens, but now I'm going to go down here to this corner. They keep mentioning my passport. As I pass this opportunity to go a little further, they're talking about people were going to see how they're all looking at their phones. They did have their heads down in their phones. Who's Satan's second favorite outfit? Arabics. They like being Arabics. And not the American ones, the Middle Eastern ones, because they're the ones with the money. But that doesn't mean that they won't be a doctor, nurse, such and such and such and such here and there. So as I said, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still walking. I'm kind of chasing the traffic. They're redirecting the traffic. As soon as I get over here, it begins to move over there. So something that they commonly talk about is me giving them complexes. I've talked about this in another video. So they're going on and on about me giving them complexes right now. I'm like, no, y'all want to show up and enslave Africans in one body and then show up on Africans too. They were talking about how they're not the same way in these other places, which means another body. So they'll show up on white people to enslave and then act ratchet as hell in the African body, like they're possessing these African folks to obtain what they hold unconsciously, those things that make the body function like it's supposed to. So a female agent in Area 51, for example, got like over 80 million people. She owns 80 million of the population. I don't know if you know, but the Area 51, those that identify with being aliens, on the books, they only note that they have 1,500 employees. And that's not counting who's off the books. But they're the owner of souls. They own many people. They own many corporations. And they strategically place everyone where they want them to be. Okay, I'm in place. No money, black man? I guess not. Need money? Anyone with money? No? Or y'all just gonna look at me like y'all ain't just come from spinning? See, they're talking to him. I think he's the only one that might have recognized that there's a camera. Right now they're discussing how black people are not able to look at me the way that they're supposed to because they own them. No money? No? She's cussing. The true nature. What I'm doing is I'm recording upside down. I hope I'm able to turn this video around so that you can clearly see the expressions. Oh, here comes some black people. No, no money. No money. No money. Black women. Mad at cussing. Any money? They're realizing they're being recorded. Her daughter's telling her she's being recorded. I'm gonna turn this right side up. Black men? No black men? Okay. She purposefully put her purse in the back seat. Appreciate it. Yep. Okay, the black guys, or the black girl and guy, they gave me $2. Thank you. 20. They're freezing my fingertips. Money? Black women? No, no money. She like, but I'm a kid. Can you see how they're listening? Y'all got some money? Black people, black people. No, no money? Oh, you're not black either. Oh, thank you, lady. That they'd have put some emotions on. Oh. Oh, and they keep fogging up my glasses. They're talking about how they're mad. And they're freezing my fingertips again. Anyone? Nope, no hearts. Thank you. Okay, right now they're talking about how as I walk away, they're looking at the fact that I have a butt. And can't believe that I'm not using it. My hands are so cold. They said they're about to start malfunctioning on. So that means that they won't they'll hit the brake or the gas when they're not supposed to. Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording and put one hand in the pocket, kind of transfer them back and forth.
Like I said, right now I have $24, and I'll let you know the total time. There was an older couple here just a short while ago. Kind of like the idea of those that I was describing in the first part of this video. And I hate so much I couldn't capture them. My hands are just too cold. Right now it's been about an hour. I'm still at $24. Also, during this time, they know that the government is in place for them. The government is in place to protect them. Need money? No? No. 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 Oh, my side is so little. No. No. Right now they're discussing how I'm making an example out of white people. Here comes a black female. You got some money? Nope. Man, all this money they out spending on food and sweaters. Oh, nobody. Oh, and they were talking about that too yesterday. They were talking about how one person was going to give me a 20. One guy, one agent said that he was going to give me a 20 as a female. Oh my goodness, they are freezing my hands. Like, it's not even as cold as they are for what they're doing. I was just laughing at the dance that the little girl was doing. And then her expression when she got to see the sign up close. They don't grab for their pocketbooks, they grab for their drinks, then they turn their heads. They don't care about black life, but they can't stand without it. Can't stand without it. And you know what the worst part is? They probably won't even remember this day when their world comes to an end. They won't even remember this day. Because naturally, that's not how their brain functions. Without eugenics, that's not how their brain functions. The ability to recall is absolutely aligned with having a soul. It's a part of having a soul. Now they're freezing my foot, so my toes are cold. Like I said, it's not that cold out here, and they're freezing my toes real bad. She's smiling. They were smiling in a way to mock just a short while ago. So I began recording this family of 3 or 4. And as you can see, he's looking around, but not for money. Something else that I wanted to know, as some of them are passing by, there's quite a few cars that are in a group, meaning that they'll have a car of mixed races, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Maybe it's a business weekend or something, or maybe they carpool. But they'll look, and the kind of statements that they'll make, you know, are, well, why don't you just get a job? Families do the same thing, you know, like they'll make those sort of suggestions. Why don't you just get a job? The government won't allow me to get a job. So it's not as simple as getting a job. For me, a beautiful African woman, to be out here on a street corner, trying to get money, state that there's something truly wrong. Like all these people that claim that they have black friends, and all these people that claim that they have white friends, y'all need to start asking the question, if you seen a young black woman on the corner asking for money, would you help her? The answer is no. No, they will not. But they're not going to tell you that. They're going to pretend like they would. That because you have to keep in mind that I'm not your typical or your ordinary case. This is not something that you see often. I am an indicator that something is truly fucking wrong. That things have went tremendously fucking bad. And that's exactly what should come to mind when they see me. But that's not. They're under suggestion. They have an embedded hate for African females. Embedded hate. They're like, we're going to be on. Both of them grabbed their phone at the same time. And now some of the guys are going off in the background about how I'm making an example of how they don't care for African life. How they don't have any sympathy or any compassion for it. You got some money? So what she just did was she tried to insult me with a nickel. She tried to insult me with a nickel, and I turned away. So then they rolled the window down, and now as you can see, they're all kind of snickering. So imagine a nation, an area of people being under a suggestion not to give. Or even worse, particularly who to give to. So if it does not look a certain way, you'll shun it. Okay, and they're like really, really numbing my toe real bad. And my fingertips again. I'm gonna run inside for a break. Hold up, I want to catch a picture of her because she was just in the oh, I wonder if I can run over there. She was just in traffic, but she turned around. He's kind of leaned back in the car. He don't know what she up to. Dang, it's true. He's leaned back. He don't know what she's up to. My feet hurt. But she rolled by me. She came right through here, slowed down, looked at me and rolled her eyes. And I didn't think nothing of it at first until she pulled on around and was on that side and I could see him on the other side. That's how I remembered them. So she came back from wherever she came back from to get a close-up look at me and roll her eyes. A world without stupid-ass Keishas is going to be great. Okay, so 2 other females just pull in. I told you with this sort of demonic foresight, they're like always on point. It's well calculated. So they'll be getting out the car at the same time I'm coming up through here. So they get out. And they get out and they're medium-sized females with butts. You know, and I didn't pay them any mind at all. Like, until the government started talking about them, you know, they started remarking about how they be putting butts on everybody. And as soon as they said that, like, one of the girls turned around to look at me and see if I was looking at them. And I didn't catch it until the end, because I had my head down. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? You know, I purposefully ignore them when I see them. I had my head down. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And as I look up, I realized she was looking at me, trying to see if I was looking at them. They're always looking to see if I'm looking at them. I'm in Dillard's taking a break. My foot has finally thawed out a little bit. I'm going to go back out for about another hour and a half. As you can see, I said $26. That's what I've made so far. Now, I don't know what people normally make, but I do know sometimes they make out really well panhandling. So I don't know, like, what's normal per hour. That sounds crazy, don't it? What's normal per hour? In a recent video, I talk about how they attacked my the back of my thighs. So that's in some of my other content. What else? They're complaining again how they cannot get me not to love myself. It's not in my DNA. Self-love is like something my bloodline is built with. But I told you they just showed up in my family. They put a lot of them in my family. So we got females with no self-love. Y'all ain't the only ones. This is what people are saying. And okay, here goes round 2. I gotta hurry up before it gets dark. Okay, that right there, that supports a suggestion. I'm trying to paint a real picture for you how the things in my environment are being used as a part of reality when they aren't. That over there has nothing to do to me, but the way that things are being arranged in parallel reality, where all things are moving and aligning under suggestion, it looks like something else is taking place. And sometimes I told you, in order to bring that lie into fruition, they have to get close as they can. So me being there and that being there puts us in the same area. Now, I just walked out the door and already they're freezing my foot again. It's not that cold out here. They're trying to keep me from going and standing on this corner. So this whole freezing thing is not a real matter that's taking place. It's something that they're able to induce, which means that once I'm inside, they should reduce it right away, but that's not taking place either. Lies. Lies. See how they're blurring it out? I keep trying to get it to focus. There it goes. You can always tell when they're trying to protect certain identities. My foot is really cold. They just went straight into turning their heads mode and ignoring. As soon as I got here, they changed the energy. Okay, of these 45 minutes that I'm gonna, oh, it's a dog. Of this 45 minutes that I'm gonna spend here, then I'm gonna go down there and do like a half hour. Of that, you'll probably see 3 or 4 minutes of actual footage because my hands are, I gotta protect my hands. So I'm like in self-preservation mode right now. Which is unfortunate because like I really like to catch and hone in on these expressions. You have to see their expressions. And that's something else too. I guess with the sun going down, it's more difficult. Like it's turning into a glare. This black guy with the white girl, he just rolled his window down. He said, "Hey." He said, "What you doing out here?" I said, "Do you know me?" He said, "No, but what you doing out here?" I said, "I need money." He said, "But for like," I said, "I'm being attacked by the government and they will not allow me to get work." He said, "Oh," turned his head and slowly rolled the window up. But his entire attempt, you know, it's weird. He should have known the outcome. It did know the outcome. What else that I wanted to note is that the chemical stimuli, a lot of times they inject things into my veins, like into the clone's veins, that manifest as a repellent. It's a chemistry thing. You know, it gives people bad feelings. It assists bad feelings and suggestions that are being made to people. So whereas if my vibrations weren't being attacked and I was giving off my normal vibrational frequency, let me change that up a little bit. I don't want to say giving off my normal vibrational frequency. I want to say resonating in the way that I normally would. I have a polycash right here. Because they know exactly who I am. They know that I'm the one that they were warned about and I'm not meant to be angered. But since they can't sense any of that, and they're no longer being told any of that. They're yeah, it's like a normal person standing here, like appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that was a dike. I told you, like, the only reason the dike gave is because it was being captured. You have to understand, like, these are the type of dirty deeds that they do. And when they go back, not even when they go back, they'll tell them right away. Like, she wasn't paying attention to me. Then she looked, and then she did like a double take, like, oh shit, for real? Like, you know, they told her who I was, and so we rolled down the window, gave me $5. That's $31. But anyhow, I rolled down the window, gave me $5, and was like, you know, no problem, because it feels as if, you know, like, I don't want to go into that part. It's about my blood and how they distribute it and how it makes people favor them. So yeah, when someone like that gives it, they're given for a reason. And the same goes for the rest. It's just a less or least extreme, a less or least extreme form of Satanism. So, you know, it's not a man posing as a female or a female posing as a man. Okay, they froze me out. Like, my foot is absolutely numb. Like, all the toes in the front. Look. So anyhow, I got one more dollar since then. I made a total of $32. And then outside, I got a Chick-fil-A gift card too. And you know my Peter code, so I told you they froze me out. I'm leaving. But I see the security little vehicle from earlier that I already knew was in fucking place to screw me. They removed. I just was here. The last time I was here, I contemplated getting Chick-fil-A. It decided against. So I know that there's one in there. They removed it from my memory because it left no imprint. And I just asked this guy, and he turns out to be cockeyed and shit, the devil, like that form of the devil. Happy, pleased as hell that I came over there. Everything that's taking place right now is false and external. I mean, false and remote. I don't want to say external, but yeah, my foot to the touch is not cold at all. However, meaning that there's no cold coming off of it. You know how when your feet are cold, the cold penetrates or permeates off the foot. None of that's happening. Everything that's being done is being done internally, remotely and internally. What else that they've been doing, as I told you, you know, I'm so tired of repeating, I don't have money. But when it comes to food and those gift cards, whenever I should decide to use them, they'll have those that are able go and lie about us being there together. And that's a direct reflection of how they're able to manipulate the identities that are associated with the tracker. So although there's a guy behind me standing behind me at Chick-fil-A that I don't know, you know, later on they're going to manipulate that identity. And claim that I was here with, oh my goodness, my foot. They're putting my foot in more pain. See, now I just tried to record it. That guy, he just came from way over there and came beeline, like all the way over here close to me. I recorded him right here at the door, and I'm talking like he's looking at me record him, and they just snatched the fucking recording off the phone. He got mad because I wouldn't take notice of him from over there or make eye contact. So he gets up and walks his way right over here. And I pulled my phone out and started recording, and he left the door, and I noticed that the recording was gone. Okay, so I end up walking to Sarda. And I'm going to talk about what's going on here in a minute. But on my way, I was leaving the mall from getting the Chick-fil-A. And there was a female and a guy. that passed by when I was last on the corner. And it may have been captured. When I looked at them, I said, like, man, woman, like, what y'all gonna do? She kind of made this face like, and, you know, kept going. I'm talking about 20 minutes or so go by, because I said I had to let my feet thaw out a little bit. And then I went and got the Chick-fil-A, and I'm walking, like, in the direction of the Cornerstone Transit. Her and him pull up out of nowhere, and he rolls the window down. She's on the passenger side, and she's like, hey, were you the one, you know, back there on the corner? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, and she like went in her wallet and grabbed $5 and handed it to me. And I said, I appreciate it. I said, do you have a Facebook page? They were looking for me for a reason. They know their vaginas is about to be dry. Dizzy as hell. They told her who I was. They rode around. Rode around looking for me. When they left, they said they know she's about to go viral. Oh, I told her, I said, you do have a Facebook? She said, yeah. I said, my name on there is Victoria, better known as Pt.A, Tequila Oliver. And she said, and then she was like, okay. And then she was like, wait, what's the name again? I told her, I said, I'm being attacked by the government. Like, wow. Right after she said, what's the name again? I said, I'm being attacked by the government. I said, they're interfering with work and everything. She said, okay, what's her name again? And then I told her, I said, it's Victoria, better known as Tequila. Or she typed in a couple of things. And she said, okay, before she was done typing in the name. It came up. I suppose she might have saw the profile picture beforehand. And she had a weird reaction. And I told her, I said, do you see it? I said, it's a black and white profile picture. It says, and she was kind of just like, yeah, like, you know, she knew who it was. Let me show y'all what that happened. Like, look at the devil. Look at the devil looking at me. But let me show y'all what happened. His mom is back there. She must have dozed off or something. And it comes up here and sits by me. So it looks like me and this child is riding the bus together. This kid is not with me. I looked up, I'm like, get your child. It had made its way up here by me and was rocking back and forth. That's the devil for you. They controlling that kid. It was rocking back and forth, looking up. And I told you they put people out like a light. Like they probably sedated her. And her seed that made it up here. Her little demon. I'm about to move away from it. Imaginary friends, fake fighting. That's an example of parallel reality. There it is, $37.
Okay, what you're about to see is day 2. And when day 2, I went incognito, meaning that my phones were powered off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide for you a little bit of background information about what took place with the officer. And I'll play what took place with the officer, analyze it, and then play it back. The purpose of me analyzing this is to show you how this sort of behavior is identified with being a covert professional.
Okay. This is day 2 of panhandling. I haven't had sleep. Again, this is day 3 in a row that I haven't had sleep. Or I've had 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 hours in 3 days. Maybe. That's about an exaggeration. So I'm going to the library right now because I have some other things that I need to work on. I'm going to work there for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to catch the bus. Normally I walk to the transit when I'm catching the bus to Canton, but I'm going in the opposite direction, so I'm going to catch the bus there. My phone, you know, I'm leaving my phone behind. There was something about the other phone. Oh, I needed to take it with me to the library to download the PowerPoint. I got so much to work on. Maybe I should just give that a break for now. But I'm really spontaneous with it. So as soon as something comes to mind, I try to hurry up and, you know, note it or either brainstorm it on the PowerPoint so that I can elaborate on it later. I'm leaving my phones behind. I told you my phone is like my pistol. It keeps them away for the most part. You know, there's always a couple of acts of desperation. But it keeps them away. So I'm really skeptical. I'm really skeptical about leaving it behind. Right now, I took a bath and put the same shirt on. Well, whatever. Oh, now they're jamming my thought. Skeptical about leaving my phone behind. I'm skeptical about leaving it behind. But like I said, I'm taking this other one with me. I was planning on leaving them both. I'm going to turn it off though. The other one doesn't have any sort of storage space, so if something were to happen, I'm not able to record. They were threatening to send the cops to bother me, and I warned that I would be hostile. So I'll let you know how it goes when I come back. Okay, second thought, I'm going to take them both and just cut them off. Oh, that's not good. Because you know they can be tracked even when they're off. Like, the trackers are on even when they're on. You know, it's weird because it's like tracking the individual person isn't enough. Like, every other form of tracking just supports disinformation. Like, you'll soon find that out.
Okay, here's the background information for what you could not see before I powered my phone on. When he approached me, he said, "Can I speak to you for a moment?" I said, "Sure." He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm panhandling." He said, "Yeah, but what are you doing here? Like, why?" I said, "The government is attacking me. I'm being gang stalked." He said, "Oh, okay, so yeah. So do you live around here?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, how did you get here?" And I said, "I caught the bus." He said, "Well, do you have a place to go? Because I don't want to tell you to stop and you don't have anywhere to go." I said, "No, I have a place and I'm housed." He said, "Okay, well, do you have an ID on you?" And I showed my VA ID. And he said, "Do you have a state ID?" I said, "No, not on me." He said, "Well, what's your social?" I said, "What are you running in for?" He said, "Because here in Jackson Township, panhandling is illegal." I said, "Oh, I didn't know." And he said, "As long as everything checks out, okay, I'll let you go with a warning." So he froze for about a half a minute. like he acted like he was going to take off, and then he froze in his steps. I could tell he was listening to them, and then he like regained. Right after that, he began to like get uncomfortable. You know, you'll see that's where this video picks up. So following the fidgeting and him staring off, it's almost as he was waiting for my phone to power on. And then once my phone powered on, I asked him, I said, who called? He said, actually, I was just passing by, coming from another call. I said, I've been out here about 35, 40 minutes, and I only made $3. Like, he said, well, $3 is better than no money. I said, that's easy to say when you have a job. This, in this window, they attacked me because they saw me about to lay in on him. And then he contacted the dispatcher, and you'll see it pick up where he was reading my social. For a non-criminal stop, you shouldn't have even been putting illegal and permit in the same sentence, for the simple fact that, you know, this is something that the city allows, the township does allow. You just have to go through a process in order for it to be permitted. You have to go through a process in order for it to be permitted.
Two 280-82-8883. 280-82-8883. Copy, that's who I'm out with. Give me 1 second, I'll go check my computer, I'll be right back, okay?
All right.
Don't go nowhere.
He said that in Jackson Township, it's illegal to panhandle. I told him I didn't know and asked him what was he on around my social for. You know, he said he just wanted to make sure everything checked out. He's really been listening to them, and he was stuck. He malfunctioned for a short moment. And then he ran the social, and he was waiting on him to get back.
So everything checks okay. As I said, if you're doing this type of stuff, you need a permit from Jackson Township Hall.
I thought you said it was illegal.
Well, yeah, you need permit for it.
But
so without a permit, it's illegal.
Oh,
You see
well,
what I'm
that's
saying?
different.
Well, no, it's not different. It's what I
Well,
said.
that means that there's a way around
Okay, well,
it.
I'm not
The
gonna
way that you stated
Okay,
it.
well, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just letting you know. So if you're gonna do this type of thing, you need a permit from Township Hall. Okay. So right now you're good to go. Just don't do it first time. It's just gonna be a warning.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, what I did was I came back to do this part last because for the sake of time. So whereas I wanted to give like this long drawn out as like analysis of what took place, like going into the body posture and, you know, gestures and stuff like that, I'm just going to touch on a few. Truck, approach. Okay, so here goes. He's agitated, but his tone does not reflect that emotion because it's a mix of expressions, you know, splicing expressions. That's how you achieve that sort of response, you know, where you're able, your body language might show it a little bit, but you're able to speak in a tone that, you know, if heard from the outside in and only heard, no one would think that it was aggressive or, you know, had agitation in it. I've stated that corporate professionals always show up in places that they have no way of knowing. They show up where they have no way of knowing. They're receiving intel regarding matters that they would not otherwise know. So, he showed up. Since panhandling is not illegal in Jackson Township, he had no reason to find any suspicion with seeing someone on the corner. In fact, if he thought for some odd reason, that he might find something criminal, he should have rode around. Most places issue a badge. If you need a permit, they issue a badge that you wear on the front of your jacket, and it lets them know that you've been validated by the city or state. City. So the correct thing for him to have done would have been to ride around to see if I had a bad first before approaching me. Instead, he just approached me. He told me that it was illegal to panhandle there because his intent was to keep me from ever coming back. They do not want me in that area. And he was going to leave me under the wrong impression until I began to record and show what was taking place. And then you saw he revealed that part to me, that you need a permit. In their jurisdiction, it requires a permit. It's not illegal, it just requires a permit. They always try to confirm something that they've been told. And in order to confirm something that they've been told, they normally ask something that's associated with them trying to be caring. So, it comes off like you're showing concern for others, asking me like, well, do you have somewhere to go? Because I don't want to tell you to stop if you don't have anywhere to go. Is intended, remote neural monitoring is intended to look like you're showing concern. It's intended to look like you care, but it's just a way for you to validate demonic foresight. They told him I was homeless.
Two 280-82-8883. 280-82-8883. Copy, that's who I'm out was. Give me 1 second, I'll go check my computer, I'll be right back, okay?
All right.
Don't go nowhere.
He said that in Jackson Township, it's illegal to panhandle. I told him I didn't know and asked him what was he on around my social for. He said he just wanted to make sure everything checked out. He's really been listening to them, and he was stuck. He malfunctioned for a short moment. And then he ran the social, and he was waiting on him to get back.
So everything checks okay. As I said, if you're doing this type of stuff, you need a permit from Jackson Township Hall.
I thought you said it was illegal.
Well, yeah, you need permit for it. So without a permit, it's illegal.
Oh, well, that's different.
Well, no, it's not different. It's
well, that means that there's a way around
well,
it.
I'm not
The
gonna
way that you stated
okay,
it.
well, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just letting you know. So if you're going to do this type of thing, you need a permit from Township Hall. Okay. So right now, you're good to go. Just don't do it first time. It's just going to be a warning.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and real quick, this part of the video is about disinformation. Now, I didn't know, I really couldn't find a better place to put this, but I'm going to explain it to you like it took place because that's the best example to give. Disinformation is pretty much like having part of the information. It's when a part of it is true or either is completely. They're attacking me. Created to misinform. Okay, in my case, there's always 3 elements. They're watching, they're surveilling me, so they're watching what took place with me and this officer. They capture that part. And then they're capturing me recording and talking about it. And then they're capturing me writing and journaling about it. or either typing up the complaint about it. I told you remote neural monitoring is the ability to stop, pause, and even rewrite thoughts. So while I was writing out the dialogue that took place, what they did was they removed everything that has something to do with me combating what took place. So they took that snip and they showed one group and they say she was handled. They get off the thought, it comes to mind, I write it down, they capture that. They give that to another group. Someone will say she tried to combat it, but that doesn't seem right, like something's got to be missing because it only shows one, like maybe one or two statements. And then someone else will see the whole picture. They'll see all three parts, everything that took place. So here, these two circles, they support this information. As I was journaling, like I said, and recapping what took place and rehashing what took place, they removed these two statements from my memory completely. They later got off, and it's just moments later. All this stuff is done like within seconds of one another. They got off. I write in this statement over here first. Is it that one first? No. I write in this statement over here first. And then I later write in this statement like a minute or two later. And both of those statements have something to do with me combating. They completely removed the fact that I combated the situation from mine. Like as I'm talking about these topics, those two things didn't come to mind until they got off of it. And like I said, that all has everything to do with me recapping what took place. Imagine what took place while we were having that conversation. They saw me forming thoughts that would put us on the topic of eugenics. I was trying to get to you ain't even got no business standing here talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Point. So like they're going in, like jamming my thoughts. I couldn't think. So what I did was I refrained from being hostile. And yeah. But they saw me forming thoughts to like dogging. And when I dog walk people, I like to dog them, in a humane fashion. It ain't got to be yelling and screaming and acting all indignant, my conversation is educated.
So anyhow, I made $3. I'm going to start from the beginning and tell you what happened. I'd been out there about 35, 40 minutes. And like literally, they were being disrespectful as hell. They knew I didn't have my phone on. So it got to the point where about 30 minutes in, I put the, first of all, let me back up. When I say they were being disrespectful, I mean, like they ride up, a female and a male in the car and be like, what are you doing? One lady rolled by and yelled, "Get a job." Another guy rolled by, "Me too," because the sign says need money. But there were tons and tons of blatant stares, like pretty much the reactions from yesterday. At first, they were shifting the energy because at first they were like being rude. They were showing and giving looks of disgust, and then that changed from looks of disgust to trying to ignore. So the entire crowd began to ignore that I was even there. So some of the teens, it's Saturday, it's the 21st of December, and some of the teens, they ride and they laugh, and then when I turned to show the camera was on, I began to laugh at them because it completely just droops and changes their everything. It's the things that people do when they think that they aren't going to be held accountable for it. So anyhow, I've been walking quite a while. But during that time, roughly maybe more like between 600 and 800 vehicles passed. consider much more if you consider the crossroad. So I'm trying to think if I explained that right. Like, it's an intersection. So I was only counting traffic that was coming to and from this way, not that they was going this way. So yeah, like I said, it's probably more than 800 vehicles. I lost count. But anyhow, I told you the reactions I was getting. You could tell that some of these people were so disappointed that it was taken. I mean, not disappointed, but aggravated and agitated that this was taking place. They were mad about my presence. So I thought to myself, one of them will call the cops. However, I have a journal entry that I'll also include that shows where they said they were going to do it. They pretty much what just took place is something that they said they were going to do. Did I say I made $3? Let me tell you about these $3. So right before this happened, a black guy pulled up. I knew he was going to be a problem. But I didn't know till he, because his windows were tinted, I didn't know until he rolled them down. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey. And he has a little white boy in the car with him, and then like a little mixed kid in the back seat. So I automatically started to walk away. I knew he was only there to insult. So first he wanted me to see these kids, and then he opened up his little compartment and he dug around and pulled out $1 and gave it to the little white boy to give to me. And then he scraped up some change. I said, no, you can keep the change. I'm telling you, these demons are mad. These demons are really and truly mad. And they realize that this is really and truly about to happen. So then the officer pulls up. And he's like, excuse me, ma'am. And he's like, I'm like, hey. He's like, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, sure. So I go over. And he's like, what are you doing out here? I said, I'm panhandling. So, I've been walking some more. Anyhow, so he says, I said, I'm panhandling. And he goes, well, but why? Why are you out here? I said, because the government's attacking me. I said, I'm being gang stalked. He did not give one, like, none. None were given. He said, well, do you have any identification on you? And I said, yeah. I showed him my veteran's ID. I told you I don't carry my Ohio State ID. He said, well, do you have your Ohio State ID? I said, nope, not on me. He said, well, what's your social? I said, what are you running it for? And he said, because I just want to make sure everything checks out. He was like, as long as nothing comes back, it'll be fine. They were telling him this is an officer under suggestion. They told him that I was homeless and that I had a criminal record, that he was going to be able to arrest me. That's the only reason he stopped. And he grew aggravated once he realized that he was, acting upon a lie. So I tell him my social, and he runs it. I give him my social and my name, and he runs it. So anyhow, I asked him, I said, like, is it a problem with, like, panhandling here? And he said, well, it's the bus, hold on. So anyhow, he tells me, he says in Jackson Township, it's illegal. And I said, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, okay, well, no big problem. Like, if it's illegal, then that's the bottom line. But you can't tell someone that it's illegal if it's illegal without a permit. Those are two totally different things. That's not the same. And he wasn't going to tell me that much until I told you my phone, I was off the grid. I turned my phone on and began to record. As soon as I started talking about it, he started, you know, getting a little uncomfortable. Those surveillance, and when this happens, they get aggravated. Every time they see me about to check somebody over something they have no business doing, they make my leg shake. So my left leg will begin to like just throttle. But it's undetectable, you know, if you're engaged with it. You know, like, you can't detect it, but I feel it, and I'm focusing on keeping anyone from noticing that that's happening too. So he gets a call back, and then he said, wait, let me go and check something in the car. Don't go anywhere, stay right here. I said, okay. So that's when I started telling what was going on. As you can see, he hurried up and shut it down and got out of the car and was like, you know, everything came back all right, this, that, and the other. But he tried to misinform me. He wasn't going to tell me the truth. These people are pissed off about me being in this motherfucking area. And after it took place, they put the entire area under different suggestions. So some knew how it was handled and knew that I was vindicated in a way, you know, like knew that I wasn't taking any shit. And then there's others under the impression that, you know, they got their way. So they were riding by literally fucking happy. Like some would smile, some would do like a little snarl thing. You know how females do that when they go, I got you. That sort of thing. These are white females, right? And a couple of white guys. Even some teens rolled by and had something else to say. You know, once they witness, you know, the encounter with a cop. Like, and this is after I'm down near the mall now. I'm a quarter mile from the corner. And they ought to follow me down, and they're making their rounds. They driving by it, you know, getting out the car and, you know, giving and shooting looks. These people, these things, these aliens are evil as fuck. And I don't feel bad about nothing that's going to happen to them. And a caveat to the other statement that I made yesterday, when I was doing an impersonation of what a stupid African female would say, like whose demons were on a million. She said something like, well, if you hate white people so much, it's not a hate thing, it's a right and wrong thing. It's a right and wrong thing. And for you to ever think that created races feeding off of Africans is okay, you gotta go too. I don't care about your white friend. I don't care about your Arabic friend. I don't care about your Mexican friend. I don't care about any of them and what type of memories you form with them. Because without eugenics, you'll come to find out that they are not who they say they are. And they cannot stand before you the same way that they're standing before you now. It's a trick. It's foolery. Those are evil and deceitful spirits. So earlier today, before I left home and I noted, you know, them making that thread, I told them that I was going to be hostile. But when that conversation was taking place, they saw me forming thoughts to factor in the types of attacks that the government was making, and eugenics. Like, that's the one thing that they don't want me mentioning to officers, because when I mentioned that to an officer, I mentioned it in a very disrespectful way. Like, you ain't even got no business. You can't even stand here and talk to me. So as I'm forming those thoughts, they're blocking and chopping and cutting it all up. Like, they wouldn't allow any of that to come out, and he was cutting the conversation short. So I just, you know, I digressed and left. Because you ain't got no business showing up as your filthy ass creation, saying nothing to me about nothing, and you watching me motherfucking suffer. I made an interesting observation today that put things into perspective. In this panhandling video, they lost my thought. In this panhandling video, I mentioned, you know, these the created races being bodies easily used, you know, and especially designed for covert professions to enslave Africans. So as I was passing, and you know, there's work trucks and everything along the way, and then there's facilities. But every time I pass a white person, I'd be like, outfit. You know, that's an outfit. The guy ahead is an outfit. Metro has a lot of outfits. CSS, the Community Service and Support, I believe is what it's called. Over there, a little blue and where the blue ironings are, gray building, gray brick. They have a lot of outfits. Outfits are mostly designed to facilitate a particular outcome, but their bodies easily used to obtain consciousness of that body is nothing. Press of a button, click of a switch. I'm talking about a millisecond. They become them. The agent shows up. You could be talking to the robot one moment, and the next moment the agent will be there, letting you know it's the agent. Outfit. I hate that my camera's facing me. I want to catch these things from the front so you can see how creative Satan got. Outfit. The African outfit. The idea of them losing their outfits drives them insane. They've been attacking me for 2.5 years, and they tried to minimize my fight. They tried to minimize my revelation and my message. And now they're completely like just concealing it in a way. Internet censorship, Operation Mockingbird, those I come across, they all know that the word about this, the things that are being done to me are not getting out. They know that I'm being attacked on a daily basis. For not complying. This chick is a problem.
The government monitors the mind. They're able to see thoughts before and as they form, interrupt with, interfere, and even place in within that thought a word that you did not mean to say. And I'm being attacked with it now. That's kind of why I'm visiting it. I had to cut a light on today, and it doesn't help much. But anyhow, they were taking advantage of how dark my face was coming out in some of the pictures and putting marks on my face again. So see, yeah, this is about where I normally be speaking from. As you can tell, the light doesn't help any at all.